But darling, there's only one God. Darling, there's only one God.
Welcome to the Dirty Bag Podcast. I'm your host, Cookie, and as always, thank you for tapping in with me. You could be anywhere listening to anybody, but you are here with your now 6-time award-nominated podcast. Yes, for a third year in a row, we are nominated for the Dallas Weekly Best of Black Dallas Award for Best Podcast. Now, here's the deal. You're only as good as your last year, right? So every year is a clean slate. So I do not walk into anything with any assumptions. I'm always grateful that y'all are still rocking with me because y'all know what time it is, because you know we solid over here, because you know we can interview our ass off over here, because you know we're well balanced over here, because you know that we have range over here. You rock with the goodness that is the grown folk trenches. So I'm appreciative. But go ahead and get it cracking with these votes. So yes, go to DallasWeekly.com. In case anybody needs a refresher, it's been a while. We are under the local favorites category. So you do have to scroll past quite a few categories, hit the local favorites, scroll down to the podcast category and Dirty Bag. If we can do a three-peat, that would be great. Listen, I'm never mad about a nomination. Of course, at this point, I know what time it is. I know where we rank. I know where we stand. So it's never about proving ourselves to be the best. We know that already. We just love having a little piece of hardware to, the icing on the cake, the little cherry on top. That's all it is. So whatever the case, I'm just very glad that we are still in the conversation and opportunities are still coming my way, y'all. I got some things to drop on y'all. I got some things to drop on y'all. It's the excellence for me, the Black excellence. But speaking of excellence, can we talk, y'all? So I was scrolling on TikTok, just aimlessly. I was, bored one day, had nothing better to do with my life, didn't want to oil my edges, didn't want to tend to my child, didn't want to do shit, but, consume social media like all our goofy asses. And I saw this post and he said, when you meet another Black person in corporate, but they're Jack and Jill Black. So I went down this rabbit hole because I'm like, wait a minute, what's a Jack and Jill? Y'all don't tell me who Jack and Jill, aside from the ones that went up the hill. But Jack and Jill is apparently an organization. It started for Black mothers to really just give their children a safe space, right? To just learn, evolve, and just to be poured into as Black young individuals. But apparently, like everything else, D9, HBCUs versus PWIs, we go unpack that shit. It has been the source of conversation surrounding elitism. So I'm just going to share kind of what my research in the conversation. So this is what people had to say about Jack and Jill. Jack and Jill is where colorism and elitism meet. Yikes. My family was turned away because my father's career was in construction. He was a construction foreman and my mother was an accountant. They had the money, house, and community standing, but my father was not in the approved industry. Oh, let's add that my father was dark as night. Yikes. It was about proximity to whiteness. It's worse than sororities and fraternities, extreme elite. And then there were a few that was like, well, I was a Jack and Jill kid. My experience was positive. Don't generalize the whole organization. And well, we shouldn't have an issue that people have standards. So, I could go on and on. What I gathered from it is it's the haves and the have-nots. The have and the have-nots. And I love that there are spaces for Black children to thrive, but based off the research I did from people that have had not so great experiences with Jack and Jill offspring or those that were a part of the program, is that it's just another way to other folks. Now, this does tie into the HBCU PWI conversation because a lot of those folks said that those children were insufferable. Somebody even went as far as to say, God forbid, I didn't go to Spelman or Morehouse. Like, we didn't go to them schools. A lot of what, I struggle to say this out loud, but when we speak about Black excellence, a lot of time it is white. Sometimes Black excellence is white supremacy wrapped in a little melanin, a little cocoa butter, a little shea butter, some Bantu knots, and a couple of degrees. Sometimes it is. I'm sorry. It's got to be said. Because we have a way of ostracizing each other if we don't check off certain boxes. Like, I've been in spaces with us where I felt like, bruh, as we all know, I've been in predominantly corporate environments. That's been the majority of my life, but in corporate white environment. I've been in corporate white environments, predominantly white corporate environments. I can't even talk. I'm getting the twitch, flashbacks, shit, just trauma. But as somebody that has worked most of her career, her sales career, in predominantly white spaces, I do see some similarities between them and people that I get around who consider themselves to be the Black elite. So what does that mean when we talk about PWIs versus HBCU grads, and why sometimes there's a lot of this, why we butt heads? I think it's weird. I know a lot of folks like myself, we wasn't thinking about PWI or HBCU. We were first generation college students. We were just trying to get out the hood, okay? I'm from North St. Louis, and not just North St. Louis. The first half of my life, my childhood was in Walnut Park, okay? We talking going to sleep to the lullaby of gunshots, right? Like, that was normal. I remember we were watching Wheel of Fortune. I was in second grade. Somebody shot through the house. And I don't think they aimed nobody in the house was really a target. Somebody was just shooting. And our house just happened to be in the way. We ducked. Gave it about, 2-3 minutes. Everybody sat back up. We continued to watch Wheel of Fortune as if nothing happened. This was my childhood, okay? And from that point, I want to say 7th grade, I was in Baden. Listen, I grew up in some of the worst parts of St. Louis, but I went to school, as I've told y'all a million times, in the suburbs with affluent white kids. So I'm probably the most balanced person you're ever going to run into, okay? So elitism does not exist in this body. It don't. Because one thing you learn about being in a hood, being in the suburbs, being at a PWI, being in corporate white spaces is that you should just be yourself at all times, because none of this shit really fucking matters. It doesn't. I remember being talked to by my counselor in college about how I needed to dress professionally. She helped me pick out my first suit for my first big job interview. Once you get in them spaces, you realize the majority of your white bosses do coke. They have affairs. I started my sales career at a very popular rental place. It is the breeding ground for affairs. I mean, literally, promotions took place because of affairs and because of golf tournaments, not because of talent. So when you get in those spaces and you realize the game that's being played, you have a lot more, you give your people a lot more grace, because those checklists don't mean shit. They don't. So when I see people talk about their experiences with like the Jack and Jill kids, which again, I was last week's years old when I learned about it, but I'm not shocked. And how a lot of them are HBCU grads and how they made people to feel like they were less than. Y'all gotta stop. Because those of us that went to PWIs, I think the reason that we're not impressed by a lot, and we even side-eye y'all, side-eyeing us. For those of you that do, I'm not generalizing, but let's be clear. There is a lot of elitism with people that have gone to HBCUs. Some of y'all are the Black white people. You're the Black white people. Y'all talk the same. You have the same ideologies. I don't know. What happens when you go to a PWI and you transition straight into white corporate is that you realize, like, y'all want proximity to something that's not real. When you work with them, baby, we are such a talented people. We are gifted. But I think because of where a lot of us come from and because of what we're told to strive for, we don't realize it. You don't realize it till you get in them rooms. I think I am just as talented and as competent as any white man I'm in the room with. And I don't feel like I have to get all polished and dress myself up and code switch anymore to compete. I used to think that way because that's what we were told. But they country as hell. Them accent, I just think we need to do better by each other because at the end of the day, it's not worth it. And again, we have an administration that I suspect half of them have sister cousins. I think it's some weird shit going on. So we need to cut that shit out. And speaking of which, we had voting this week, guys, you know, going into the 2026. Here's what I want to say. All I could think about when I was at the voting booth was November 4th, 2008, and where I was when Obama got elected his first term, and how once upon a time we were a respectable people. We had sense. We had leaders that could form coherent sentences and that were charismatic and knew how to talk to people and that people liked and that cared about people. I was in Joplin, Missouri at Hackett's. That was one of the first, I feel like it was one of the first Black-owned restaurants. It was a wing spot. And I remember us just all being in there and just having a sense of pride and the tears and what that moment felt like, having a Black leader, a Black man as the leader of the free world, and that anything was possible for any of us. And I just wonder, are we ever going to feel anything like that again? I don't know, but I think because of that and where we are now, the elitist shit, the classist shit, we gotta, let's just treat each other right. How about that? Because I don't give a damn what school you went to. Right now, any of us can get pulled over and targeted by ICE, and we're literally American fucking citizens. So with the shit that we got going on right now, none of that matters. Your status doesn't matter. And that's why for me, sometimes it's hard to go to certain rooms and certain networking events and panels because I'm listening to you talk and all I'm hearing is there are so many people, so many dope creatives, so many dope entrepreneurs, so many dope people that just would not be invited, would not feel welcome in this room, that would never get an opportunity to sit on that stage and speak behind that mic because they don't check off the boxes. Fuck these boxes. The boxes don't matter. How about we let everybody just live in their unapologetic truth and accept them for who they are and understand that sometimes Black excellence just means making it out of situations that were designed to destroy you. Okay? Black excellence means that we handle everything that's thrown at us and we keep going. Our history, to me, Black excellence means I'm still here. And y'all, what was meant to destroy us, we are still flourishing. And that's all I got for you motherfuckers. So with that being said, whatever we got going on right now, y'all, COVID is still out here. People not washing their hands, period. Just protect yourself. Wear your mask. Wash your hands. Socially distance. Go to dallasweekly.com and make sure to vote for the Dirty Bag for Best Podcast under the Local Favorites category. And whenever you get a free moment, please remember to clean out your dirty bag. Till next time.
Darling, there's only one God. Well, darling, there's only one God. Darling, there's only one God. Darling, there's only one God.